What is up, guys? Delboy here, bringing you a prediction for Josh Taylor versus Viktor Postol. This fight takes place this weekend, and it is a WBC super lightweight eliminator. And for the UK audience, this fight is going to be broadcast on Channel 5, so it's free to all, and that's a great look as far as I'm concerned. Free boxing, it's always a good thing. But interesting fight. Let's briefly go over the dimensions of both men, the records of both men, and so forth. We'll start with Josh Taylor. He is listed as 5'10" with a 69.5-inch reach. Viktor Postol is listed as 5'11" with a 73.5-inch reach. So Postol is an inch taller, and he has a 4-inch reach advantage, so he's the taller and longer man. We'll go over the records. Josh Taylor has a record of 12 wins, 0 defeats, 0 draws, 11 of those 12 wins coming by way of stoppage. Viktor Postol has a record of 29 wins, 1 defeat, 0 draws, 12 of those 29 wins coming by way of stoppage, and his only defeat was by way of a decision loss to Terence Crawford back in 2016. When you look at both guys, you'd have to say that Josh Taylor is the bigger puncher and he's fresher. But Viktor Postol does bring more experience in the ring. He's had more rounds and he has been in there with some good competition over the last few years. So, both guys have their advantages and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. One thing I will say, since Viktor Postol lost to Terence Crawford back in July 2016, he's only fought once since. And, he fought a guy who was kind of unknown. He had an unbeaten record, but the guy was unknown. And according to reports, Viktor Postol really struggled in that fight. He got dropped and he just about got through it. So since the Crawford fight, he's been inactive and he didn't look good in his comeback fight. So that's a bit of a worry. Not only that, Viktor Postol is 34 years old now. He's getting towards the age now where he's not going to be getting any better and he's probably plateaued, to be quite honest with you. So I feel going into the fight, it's hard to gauge where Viktor Postol is at right now. I do feel if he comes into the ring in good shape and in good form, I actually think he could give Josh Taylor some issues with his range and long range boxing. Postol has a pretty good jab and a nice right hand behind it. He can use his feet, he's got relatively quick feet and he moves well. So if Viktor Postol gets on his bike and tries to make the most of his reach advantage, I could see him maybe nicking a couple of early rounds and being elusive for a while. But I've got to say, I think stylistically, although Postol could make it awkward at the start, I feel he is actually, I wouldn't say tailor-made for Josh Taylor, but I don't think he's the worst stylistic matchup for him either. As we know, Josh Taylor likes to come forward in the southpaw stance. He likes to cut the ring off, work the body. He's very similar to Errol Spence. He's a really good front foot fighter. He's got a lovely jab and, his punch variety and output is very, very advanced. He picks his shots really well. He can work in the pocket. He works up close. He's got a really good all-round skill set offensively. And as I mentioned, he's quite good at cutting the ring off. Miguel Vasquez gave Josh Taylor some issues at times when he was being awkward and cute and being defensively sound. But again, in the end, Josh Taylor found the range. And when he started to find the range and cut the ring off, he started to find the body. And eventually, Vasquez was getting slowed down and he was taken out for the first time in his career. Josh Taylor is a he's a methodical fighter. Takes a while to get going, but once he gets going, once he finds the range, he's a very hard fighter to beat. I feel that Josh Taylor is the most skilled offensive fighter in the UK right now. I can't think of anybody better. Very few fighters in the UK are as comfortable in the pocket as Josh Taylor. It's something that British fighters have never really done well traditionally. Inside fighting for British fighters has always been something that we've struggled with. But Josh Taylor does it extremely well. He creates angles. He gets in the right position to throw shots like uppercuts on the inside or body shots. He's just a really, really educated, aggressive fighter. And he does it with great technique and great awareness. He's got great eyes. He really knows. He's a thinking front foot fighter. Like I said, He reminds me a lot of Errol Spence. And I have to say, I feel overall, he's just too young, too fresh for Viktor Postol. You know, obviously Postol wasn't impressive against Terence Crawford. That can be explained. You know, Crawford's a great fighter, but in his very next fight again, he struggled again, according to reports, got dropped. And, you know, he's been inactive, he's getting old, he's 34. You know, it's not looking great for Viktor Postol. They say timing is everything in boxing, and I think that's the case in regards to this fight. And not only that, like I said, I do feel stylistically this fight isn't the worst for Josh Taylor. I think Postol will have success early on, but I feel he's going to struggle to keep Josh Taylor at bay. You know, he's going to score with the 1-2, but that's pretty much it. You know, Josh Taylor's going to get past that. He's going to get up close. He's going to work the body, and he's going to systematically break down Viktor Postol. And I actually think he's going to be the first man to stop Viktor Postol. I really think it's there for him. I think they've got the timing right. And I really feel Taylor is up to the task. And one more thing I will say, I think Postol is a good fighter. He's world class. You know, he does things well. Like I said, he's got a good, you know, basic fundamentals, good jab, good right hand, you know, relatively quick feet. You know, he can move well. But I do feel he was overrated after the Matisse win, I've got to say. Because even fights before that against the likes of Selçuk Aydin and Hank Lundy, you know, he wasn't looking like $1 million in these fights. He was losing rounds. He wasn't decisively sort of just dominating these guys. So I'm not saying, you know, Viktor Postol was a bad fighter by any means. He's world class. He was a world champion. But like I said, I do feel he was overrated after the Matisse win. And I know that's easy to say in hindsight, but I do feel that is the case. And I think we're going to see that in this fight. I feel that, you know, Josh Taylor, he's just too skilled offensively to lose this fight, as far as I'm concerned. You know, Viktor Postol doesn't have enough to keep Josh Taylor off of him. And, you know, I feel that Josh Taylor is going to get the stoppage victory. But it's a good test. You know, Josh Taylor has only had 12 fights. He's been moved along really quickly. You know, already in his career, he's won the Commonwealth title. He beat his arch domestic rival O'Hara Davis in a really big fight domestically. He beat a former world champion in Miguel Vasquez, and this is all under 12 fights. So Josh Taylor is being moved along quickly. It's clear his people believe in him. Now he's fighting another former world champion in Viktor Postol in a final eliminator. So yeah, man, I mean, Josh Taylor's being moved along quickly. He's fighting good competition already. He's got an entertaining style, good body puncher, you know, just entertaining all round, you know. So I'm looking forward to this fight. I've got Josh Taylor by a mid to late stoppage. I just don't think Viktor Postol has enough. What do you guys think? Peace.